Schmid. I'm out here in Milwaukee, Oregon, riding my Qualisports Volador. I got sent a question. David writes, I couldn't help but notice your YouTube videos regarding your bike, which certainly had an influence on me getting my own Volador a month and a half ago. Thanks for putting those up. They are very helpful. I'm a bit of a newbie with bikes in general, and your videos are very informative. I've now logged over 300 miles on mine, and it does feel like the right choice so far. David, that's awesome. 300 miles is a great start. Keep on riding. I hope it feels good. So David is asking about some of the upgrades I've done on my Volador. Let's go take a look. It is definitely not stock anymore. I've put close to 8,000 miles on it, creeping up on 8,000 miles. I have done some upgrades, and David was asking me about these Schwalbe Marathon Plus tires, which are really quite an upgrade over the stock tires. You can see how they've been wearing. They're a little bit thinner, so they're 20 inch diameter by 1.75 inches across, and I found them to just be a fantastic tire. One reason I got them was for their kind of Kevlar lining, which they're just very highly puncture resistant. I can go over bits of glass and chunks of metal and stuff. Not that I try to go over these things, but when they happen upon me in the road, I feel pretty assured that these tires are going to make it through. I found them, even though they were a thinner diameter, I found the Marathon Plus tires to be a more comfortable ride than the stock tires, which I think were 20 by 1.95. I think it's been a little while since I've had the stock tires on. But even though they're thinner, they have a more comfortable ride, and they seem more sure-footed, and they also feel like there's less rolling resistance. It's just kind of easier to ride. I feel more nimble on this bike too, and they look pretty cool as well. They've handled themselves pretty well. You can see I've been on some gravel, so they do handle this kind of gravel like pretty well. This kind of packed kind of dirt gravel road. I wouldn't take it on anything with too many jumps and big bumps and things like that. In fact, there's a place with some really thick gravel in the parking lot that it's like even when you're walking on it, you kind of sink in a little bit. I would rather have like a fat tire bike with like a 4-inch tire or something like that for something like that, or other more challenging things. I have had them in snow at some point. Towards the tail end of a snowstorm, I ventured out. I walked most of the time during the snowstorm, but I definitely ventured out when there's a little bit of snow on the ground, just to kind of see what it felt like. I wouldn't want to necessarily take this out into the ice, but we're in the Pacific Northwest. It rains a whole lot, and I'm definitely not a fair weather rider. I definitely take this out in the soggiest of downpours, and they are quite sure-footed in the rain. I just think they're a brilliant tire. I keep them at different PSI. I keep the rears at 60 PSI and the front at 55 PSI, just because I'm often loading up the rear rack with one pannier or two. Plus I've got a knapsack on my back. Let's see, what other questions did you have? Oh, you're asking about hydraulic brakes. I did upgrade the brakes at one point. This is a bike that's had 8,000 miles, so like a lot of things have been kind of upgraded along the way, which I always like about a relatively inexpensive bike, is when something goes wonky, you can like upgrade it and like make it yours. So I had a shop in town, Missing Link, when they're down in Milwaukee. They upgraded these brakes, and they're still mechanical, 160 millimeter, I believe, disc brakes, but like rated for e-bike usage. So they're just an upgrade, and they squeal a little bit less, but the brakes have been really great and performed like really very well. This is an interesting spot in the brake lever. If I've got panniers loaded like a little too heavy, they'll sometimes press against that little bit and make it a little hard to brake. So don't load your panniers up too much. But you know, sometimes you got to get the groceries. So I've not thought about going to hydraulic brakes. I like the mechanical brakes just fine, and they seem maybe a little easier to service. Not that I really know much about servicing bikes. I will often take my bikes to a local shop to have them help me fine-tune things. And what was your other question? And the battery. Yeah, so this is still the original battery, and it's held up pretty well. Actually, I got a little nervous during the pandemic, and I ordered myself a new battery from Qualisports, but it's just been sitting in the corner, just kind of waiting. It served my needs just fine. I went on a 12.8 mile ride the other day, and still had plenty of power left. I think maybe up the final hill home it went down a bar. So it's degraded maybe 10% or so since I've had it, but I still feel pretty confident riding it a 15 mile round trip pretty readily, and maybe a little further. I tend to ride on pedal assist level 1, and every now and then 2, and every now and then during the big hills I'll crank it up to 5, and there's always a hill going home, and that usually gets level 5. I use the throttles very sparingly. Oftentimes if I'm just a little nudge, if I need to kind of speed up and get across the road, I'll start off with a little throttle before I get pedaling. It's been a really reliable bike. I guess the main thing that I replaced was, within the first 100 miles, I replaced the saddle. And this is actually the saddle after that, because my first saddle, the saddle rail broke. So this is like a snazzy, I think there's some titanium alloy in these, so it's pretty rugged. This is the Ergon SM C4M. Also upgraded the pedals. These are FD7s by a company in Japan. They fold like that, so they don't quite fold, like there's still a little chunky bit that folds out, but I really like. I think I stomped on the original plastic pedals a little too much and ended up breaking one, because I'm not always so gentle on the bicycle. Let's see, new grips. These are locking grips, and I really liked having that, not the originals. I kept finding myself kind of turning them, but I love that. Of course, all my blinky lights. My bell, I got this because I thought it sounded like a Tibetan singing bowl, and I could be doing sound therapy to folks on the way. David, thanks for asking your questions. Hope you have some happy riding ahead, and show us some pictures. Share your ride in like the Facebook forums if you're part of that. There's a really great community of Qualisports riders out there, and hope you enjoy your day, y'all. Happy riding.